Hello friends, I'm Cal Barnes, this is Unlimited Creation, and today, the power is in your hands. It's 2026, and as an artist, actor, writer, or filmmaker, you don't have to wait to be chosen anymore. I'll repeat that one more time. It's 2026, and as an artist, actor, writer, or filmmaker, you don't have to wait to be chosen anymore. There was a time in the beginning of Hollywood, all the way from the early 1900s, all the way to about 2010 to 2015, where the studio had complete control of the system. The benefits of this were if you were an artist, actor, writer, or filmmaker who was fortunate enough to make it past the gatekeepers or to be chosen by the system, the benefits were pretty awesome in the sense that because the studio system had control over the eyeballs or the audience, they could funnel the attention into a few specific mediums, mainly theatrical, television, and physical media. And because of that, the profits, as I've explained in past videos, were exponential. So the beauty of this was if you were an artist, if you were an actor, a writer, a filmmaker, you could pretty much just do what you wanted if you were on the other side of this gate, which is kept by gatekeepers, which are casting directors, agents, managers, studio executives, studios, etc., etc. If you happen to get on the other side of this gate, the beauty of it was the profits were exponential and all you pretty much had to do was whatever it was that you wanted to do, and you were sort of expected to stay in your lane. If you're an actor, just act. If you're a writer, just write. If you're a director, just direct. There were a few exceptions, but for the most part, that is how it was done, and no one was complaining because the profits were insane. How do I know this? Because I've had a little bit of personal experience, and although I wasn't a part of that fat cash wave that was the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, I did experience a little bit of it at the tail end. I was in a film called Unfriended in 2014, which made $64 million at the box office, and the residuals were pretty phenomenal. I made 5 figures many times over, and I was only on set for 1 day. And this is around 2014. This is right at the end of the studios losing complete control over the distribution channels and how attention was funneled, and so there still was some profits to be gained in the residual market. The loss of residuals is really what the SAG strikes and WGA strikes have been all about, because the streamers don't pay barely any, and it's really disrupted the middle class of Hollywood, which is where most artists land, because who becomes an A-list filmmaker or a star or an A-list writer really is at the mercy of a lot of factors, and only a few people can hold those positions. Think about the top directors that come to mind, and think about the top actors that come to mind, and you will see that there really aren't that many, and that's because the zeitgeist and a lot of factors have put them there, and for the most part, most people fall somewhere underneath that, some higher and some lower, but that would be called the middle class of entertainment. It used to be a very comfortable living for the majority of people that were working from that range from the middle class to the upper class, and that has pretty much been wiped out. The top are still feasting, but the middle has pretty much separated from the bottom to the top, and a smaller percent of people are taking the majority of the jobs, and that is just the way it is. So the benefits of being an artist that got past the gatekeepers during this time were pretty phenomenal, but what about everyone else that didn't? Well, you never heard about them. That's the honest truth. You never heard about those people because they really had no way to be heard. Beginning of Hollywood in the early 1900s all the way till 2010, if an actor or a writer or filmmaker never made it past those gatekeepers, and by gatekeepers I mean casting directors, agents, managers, studio executives, all people that aren't the talent that pretty much dictated literally somebody's career, and in a sense, somebody's literal life. Because on this planet, at least in Hollywood, so much of your experience, if you live here, is tied to what you're doing and your work. How do I know? Because I've experienced it. I've experienced it many times with movies. When I'm in a hot movie, my life is pretty cool that year. If I have a slow year, it's much different. If I don't work at all, it's much different. Everyone who's here understands that. And I think it's pretty similar in the rest of the world where a lot of what a human being will experience is tied to what they're doing. And what you're doing with most of your time, other than eating and sleeping and leisure, is working. So yes, in a sense, work is very important. And so these gatekeepers, and I don't have anything against casting directors, agents, or managers, or studio executives. I like them. I've worked with them before. It's just what I don't like is the power that they had and how they could literally dictate somebody's life by whether they said yes or no. I think that's pretty effed up. I think if someone wants to be able to do something, they should be able to do it regardless of what anybody says. And unfortunately, until just recently, that never existed. And that was the thing all the way till 2010, is if you heard of someone, you really heard of somebody, because to make it past the gatekeepers was dependent on a variety of factors, which were talent, zeitgeist look, cultural trends, and just pure dumb luck. And if you got past that, it was pretty phenomenal and life-changing, and you were officially in the in club. And who doesn't want to be in the in club? Because Hollywood is pretty much a giant popularity contest. That's just the way it is. Check out IMDb Pro. Anyway, everyone wanted to be in it, and I understand that, and I think it's great for everyone who made it through. But what about all the people that didn't make it through? For every actor or filmmaker that you've heard of from that time period, there are thousands that never made it, and you just simply never heard from them because you never saw them. They were never in movies, they never made movies, they never wrote movies that got made. They just simply didn't exist in the system. I just think overall that is a tragedy, and that is why I really love the times we're in. So, the beauty about now, about being an artist now, despite all the griping, despite all the residuals pretty much drying up, and yes, I know that is painful. I have experienced it myself, but there will be a solution. The beauty is that you do not have to wait for people to say yes anymore, and I love that. Because I didn't move here for someone to tell me I can or can't do something. I'm just going to do it, and that's how it is. And everybody is going to get on board or get out of my way. That's the way it's always been, and that's what I'm still doing. With the tools we have these days, nobody can stop me. Literally nobody, and I'm just doing what I came here to do without needing anybody to say yes or no, and that's a beautiful thing. It's 2026, and you don't need to wait to be chosen. You don't need to wait to be chosen. You don't need to wait to be chosen. These casting directors, agents, and managers have no power over you unless you give it to them. Yes, do they still cast amazing studio stuff? Absolutely. Are they talented people? Are they good at what they do? Absolutely. Should you still audition for them? Absolutely. Should you still get a good agent or manager? Absolutely. Should you still want to work in the studio system where the budgets are as big as possible and people get paid the most at this time? Absolutely. All I'm saying is you don't have to wait to be chosen. Choose yourself. Choose yourself. Choose yourself. Because the reality is for every actor you've heard of from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, there were thousands that you never heard of. And so statistically, that was a bad bet. Like, it just was a bad bet. Like, I actually know a lot of working actors that are just as attractive, and some of them make a living, and just as attractive, arguably maybe even more talented than a lot of the stars working, and they just weren't positioned in that way where they got that one big role, which led to the next one. But it's cool they're still working. But for every one of them that's still working, there's hundreds and thousands that just literally disappeared. And it's not like that anymore. It's not like that. And I think that's the beautiful thing, because that's a bad bet. You know why I don't buy lottery tickets? Because it's dumb. That's why I don't buy lottery tickets, because it's a stupid bet. The odds are bad, and it's not a good game. That's why I don't play it. And I think it was a bit like that from Hollywood history. No one wants to hear that because they just want to believe that that person was going to be them. And that's awesome, because if you didn't, you would never come here. But for everyone that won that game and for everyone that lost, I'm sorry, but it was always a bad game. For those that got past the gatekeepers, for those that got chosen, it's literally fortune. God smiled on you. It could just as easily have been any of the other thousands of people. You already know you were blessed. You already know you were fortunate. And you already probably know you were lucky. Anyone who says it was all talent is out to lunch, because I literally know theater actors that will probably never make it in film that are better at acting than anyone in film right now, other than probably Daniel Day-Lewis and Gary Oldman. So literally, it doesn't have a lot to do with that. Talent is everywhere. It comes down to positioning. It comes down to relationships. It comes down to a lot of things that have nothing to do with acting. Being good at acting and having talent is a prerequisite requirement. That's it. If you don't have those things, you have literally no shot. So everybody has it. I've been in a lot of classes and have seen people kill it over and over again with performances just as good as anything I've seen in a movie. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with reps, positioning, social skills, social dynamics, who your friends are, what family you were born into, it's literally so many things that go into making a star, so many things that go into it that are outside of the person's control. Some people, the people that make it, that just said that I knew, guess what? For every person that thought they knew, 1,000 to 10,000 other people thought they knew too, and it just happened to be that one person. For every person on screen you think is attractive, fire up Instagram and type in Instagram model, and then you look at men and women and you tell me that there aren't people on Instagram more attractive than every movie star you've ever seen. Just take the screen part out of it, take the being on the big screen part out of it, and just physically look at them and tell me there's more attractive. Like, it's a joke. Like, it's literally has nothing to do with that. It is literally, if anything, God breathed, and you were chosen or destined by God. That's it. So the beauty now, all that said, is you don't have to wait to be chosen by these people. You don't have to wait to be chosen by a system that's rigged, more or less, and stacked against you. Yes, there's one person from the outside that always used to make it, and that would keep the whole machine going. That one person that was chosen that wasn't born into the industry, or wasn't a Nepo baby, or didn't somehow have some connection that got them in. There would be that one person pulled out of obscurity and put at the top, and that was literally kept the whole thing going, the whole machine, the dream machine. And you know what? I love it. I was sucked into it, and it brought me here. And guess what? I wasn't chosen. I literally wasn't chosen by the gatekeepers, by the system. If it was still the 2000s or the 2000s, yes, the competition was lower back then, and maybe I would have definitely had a better shot statistically, but I wasn't chosen by the system. But guess what? I don't need to be, because I chose myself. I chose myself, and I moved here, and I'm going to become a star and an A-list filmmaker, and I don't need anybody else to tell me that I can or can't do it, because I just chose I'm going to do it, and I'm doing it already, because I'm just doing it. That's what's beautiful about the tools now, is you don't need people to say yes to access the tools. The tools are everywhere. You just have to do it or not do it. That's what's awesome. You don't have to wait to be chosen by these people. Yes, would it be awesome to work on all of these A-list films? Would it be awesome to work in all of these A-list shows? Yes, and you should. I'm actively pursuing that as well. But I'm not waiting around for that to happen. I'm making my own films. I'm making my own show alongside my auditions. I'm not waiting for anyone to say yes or no, because I don't need to. Because it's 2026 and I have an iPhone that shoots 4K, and I have prosumer mics and equipment that record at a quality that was unheard of just a few years ago. This is completely revolutionary, and that's why creators are taking all the roles in Hollywood, because they're building their own audiences, and studios and casting directors and agents or managers are looking at actors, because creators are actors. They're looking at actors that are coming with a built-in audience, and it's making that easier to say yes, because they're all about mitigating risk. Think of them as uncreative people. They're just about managing risk. And when you come with an audience and you come with visibility that mitigates risk, that's why when an actor gets one movie, they tend to get a lot more, because if the movie worked, they are now proven, and that mitigates risk. On the next one, it's very, very simple. It's just a risk management on the suit side. So when you're coming in with a built-in audience, because you didn't wait around for someone to say yes, you just said yes to yourself and you just started building your own career, then all of a sudden it makes it easier for everyone else to say yes. the casting directors, the agents, the managers, the studios, the suits, the people that used to control you and control your career and whether or not you made it, because a lot of it was up to chance. Now it's not up to chance. It's up to you. That's it. So are you going to do it or are you not going to do it? You don't have to wait to be chosen anymore. You don't have to wait to be chosen. Choose yourself. It's 2026. All the tools are available. Go to YouTube University and learn how to do whatever you want for free. Stop wasting time. Stop going to school for things that you can learn for free. Yes, some school still matters, but honestly, in the entertainment industry, when it comes to the creative arts, you can learn everything online for free from people who are actually doing it, not people that either one, never were successful and it never did it, so they started teaching, or two, they haven't made anything for 20 or 30 years, and their whole ideology is in a system that is long gone. Learn from people that are actively doing it. I produced a feature in the last 5 years. I'm actively producing one now, and I had 26 acting jobs last year. Do you want to learn from me and listen to me, or do you want to listen to someone that either one, never had any success in either field, or two, did have success 30 years ago when the studio system was kicking and they didn't have to be a creator because it wasn't available to them? Now, the beauty about being a creator is it's guaranteed. It's guaranteed you will have success if you choose success. Back in the 90s and 2000s and 80s, 90s, and 2000s, it wasn't guaranteed. It wasn't guaranteed if you had success. I don't care what anyone from that time period says. Oh, I always knew I was going to make it. Oh, they didn't have control over it. They didn't have control over it. For every one of them that made it and said they did it all in their head, there were hundreds of other people that are just mentally as strong, just spiritually as strong, whatever. And for some reason, the system didn't choose them and they weren't put on this pedestal. It's really easy to justify your choices when you're successful. It's not as easy when you're not. So they're literally just did the same thing as thousands of other people, and they happen to be that one person. If a bunch of people play the lottery, one person will win. That's just statistically the fact. One person is going to be the lottery winner. But what about the majority of people, which is pretty much everyone that wasn't the lottery winner? Is the lottery winner going to say, oh yeah, I knew it the whole time? Yeah, sure, so did all those other people, or why would they buy a lottery ticket? Everyone believed they were going to be that one person. But honestly, they didn't have control over it. They didn't have control over it. Now you do. If you want to be an actor, you will be an actor if you put in the work making your own stuff. It's just a fact. I'm an actor anyways, and I'm also an actor right now because I'm acting. I'm being myself, but I'm acting. I'm saying words to a camera, by a camera, like whatever. There's different forms. You know, I wasn't trained to speak to a camera, but it is acting. So I'm doing it. I'm just doing it. That's it. It's all you have to do. You choose. You choose what you want to be. I'm also a filmmaker. I make real traditional films, but I'm making a film right now. This is a production. I don't care what anyone says. Maybe it's not ultimately what I want to do. It's not what I moved here to do. I didn't move to LA to make my own show. I moved to LA to star in films, and then I pivoted as well to writing and producing and directing films. But this is creativity, and this is visibility, and this is building a library, and this is choosing to win. I'm choosing to win by doing this because I'm not waiting for my voice to be heard. I'm not waiting for someone to say yes. I'm just choosing to do it because guess what? I had the evening free, and rather than sit around waiting for the phone to ring, I was like, why don't I make an episode of my show? So that's what I'm doing because I don't have to wait anymore. I don't have to wait anymore. I don't have to wait, and either do you. You don't need these people to say yes. Work with them, learn from them, respect them, appreciate them, but you don't need them to say yes. You say yes to yourself. If you moved here and you believe, you make it happen. That's it. It wasn't always possible in the past. That's what's beautiful about right now is we can make it happen, and it's all up to us. It wasn't always up to you. It was up to forces outside of your control. It was up to a system that was rigged against you. It was up to cast directors, agents, managers that have all of their own personal things that you had to get through, and it was a freaking hopscotch match. It was a hopscotch match to the nines, and honestly, for most people, it wasn't a really great deal. Some people won, and it was nice. No doubt. It's always nice at the top. But it wasn't a very good game, and it was a bit rigged, and now it's not. Now it's up to you. You play until you win, because every day you have full power to create. You have cameras. You have a 4K camera in your pocket. You have mics that record at studio quality for $100 on Amazon. We have softboxes. We have lights. We have everything we need to make content and learn, and that's what we're doing. That's what you're doing if you decide. You don't have to wait to be chosen. You don't have to wait to be chosen. Being chosen is bullshit. F that. I chose myself, and I will win, and I am winning daily because that's the way it's gonna be. And there's no one on this planet that can stop me other than God himself. And you know what? I think God's on my side because this shit is fire. Thank you for tuning in to Unlimited Creation. I'm Cal Barnes. Remember to subscribe on YouTube and Spotify for more weekly content. And until then, choose yourself.